Hi everyone, Savannah here, and today we're sketching a soft and shiny glazed pink donut, the kind that looks almost too cute to eat. I'm using my custom Procreate brush set for this one. You can grab it for free in the description below, but let's jump into it. As always, the first thing we're going to do is click into that layer, select that background layer, and let's go ahead and drop a pink color for the background for now. We'll build upon this towards the end of the video. Now let's create a new layer, bring that below the outline layer, and let's work on the donut, the brown part of the donut here first. I'm going to bring the opacity down for the outline layer just so I can see it a little bit better. I'm going to use that circle dark brush to start filling in the donut section. Now let's go ahead and alpha lock this layer. And again, alpha lock is just so that when we're building upon highlights and lowlights, it's not going to draw outside of the lines that we just created. And so this is really good if you want to keep the shape that you have. Let's go ahead and select a lighter color, that circle blend brush, and let's add some of that lighter donut color that you see when it's fried and you have that little bit of lightness on the center, and just start blending it out. Now remember, with my brushes, the harder you press, the more that color is going to come through. The lighter you press, the more it's going to blend with the other color that's already there. And so alternate between harder presses and lighter presses just to get the shape and the highlights and lowlights that you want in this area. Now, once I start getting the general shape and the general highlights and lowlights, I do like turning that outline layer off just so that I can start building upon it. You can keep that line layer on if you want, if it's helpful for you. It's just easier for me to see what's going on with this area when it's turned off. And so usually once I get enough of a base layer here, I will turn it off and then add on more highlights and more shadows here as I continue. Now I'm going to use an even lighter color here to add some of those really light parts of the donut where maybe it didn't get quite deep fried or just glistening from being pulled out freshly made. Once you have it blended out how you like, let's go ahead and add the glazed pink layer. So add a new layer. I'm going to select this just pinkish red color, and I'm going to start with the outline. Now let's go ahead and make sure this layer is alpha locked and let's add some of those highlights and shadows to this area as well. We're going to select that lighter color and I'm going to start with the highlights going around the donut, making sure you understand how a donut is shaped. So it's a little bit curved towards the top. So we want to kind of follow that. And then the same thing for these darker colors. We're just adding layers. We will blend this out in a second with that blend brush. So right now, you can use that circle brush, you can use the circle light brush, you can use the circle dark brush. Any one of those three is going to be fine for this section, but just add some layers where you think there's going to be kind of that highlight and low light and midtones, and we will blend those out in a little bit. All right, so now let's go ahead and blend it out. Remember, if you want to select the colors that are on the donut that you've already colored, press your finger down on the screen and hold it there, and it will select the color. You'll see it in that top right where the color picker is if it's selected correctly. So if you want to do that, you can do that. As you're blending in the colors, there's some in between colors that will pop up. You can select those ones for blending. Really, we just want to blend this out to make it a little less jagged. And we're just going to keep alternating between these mid-tones, these lighter tones, these darker tones to blend this out until it looks how you kind of want it to look with the shadows and with the highlights. I'm going to just keep blending this out until I like it, and then we will move on and add some sprinkles. Now I am spending a lot of time on this section because I'm adding those darker colors and then lightening up, and then I'm getting a little too light. You don't have to go as intense on this section as I am doing here. If you want to fast forward and jump to that next section, you're more than welcome to do so. I just want to add in a little bit more of that darker color here without making it too light. And so I'm just going through this section a couple times just to get to where I like it. Now I'm finally starting to be happy with how this glazed donut looks. I am going to come in with a little bit of white to give it that glazed shiny look just to make it look even more realistic. That's what I'm doing here by adding in that white. Now we do want to add that inner part of the donut here. So go ahead and grab that darker orangish red color. We're going to add that to the same layer that the donut is on. I grab the mid-tone orange. We don't want to do the lighter orange because it's going down into the kind of like cave. So you want it to be a little bit darker. And we're going to add in some of that orange color here as well. So let's go ahead and add a new layer and add these sprinkles in. I'm using the dark pink color just so that I can see exactly where these sprinkles are going against this lighter pink. We will make them lighter. I'm just using the black. Eventually will be the shadow. So I'm using the black right now just to place where I want these sprinkles to go. I am also still using the blend brush for this. I don't want them to be too bright and bold. And so the blend brush works perfectly for this. Once you have the sprinkles, we're going to duplicate this layer. And then one thing that we're going to do is alpha lock that new layer we just created. Select a different color. I'm using white here. And then you select that layer again and click fill layer. That's going to fill all the sprinkles in with this white color. I'm going to duplicate that layer one more time, pick a lighter pink color, and do the same thing, click the layer and fill the layer. Again, that's going to color in all of those sprinkles with that pink color. And then I offset the pink and the shadow a little bit. I am doing a Gaussian blur on that shadow because I don't want it to be so dark and vivid. And so I'm blurring it out a little bit and bringing down the opacity of that pink sprinkle layer just so we have a little bit more of that white popping up. The next thing and last thing that I'll do with the sprinkles is just add a little bit of variation in the color here. So I grabbed one of the darker pinks and just very lightly with that circle blend brush going over some of these sprinkles just to give it a little bit of variety. You can pull in a little bit darker color, which I'll do here as well. On the right side, those sprinkles will be in a shadow. So you can just add a little bit of darkness around again to give it a little bit of variety. Now let's go ahead and add the shadow under the donut. So let's go ahead and do a new layer, bring that below the donut, and we're going to do this dark pink color. I am going to use the circle dark brush for this. And again, you can follow the outline if you want to. You can do your own shadow, up to you, but I'm going to trace what the outline has here and fill it in. Once this is filled in, we are going to do a Gaussian blur on it. So go ahead and click into the Gaussian blur, select that screen and drag it to the right until you get the blur that you're looking for here. The final step that we're going to do is add some variation to the background. So add a new layer, bring it below the shadow layer, and just select one of the pinks. You can do this medium tone pink, you do different, you can even go dark if you want. But I'm going to use a square blend brush and just build upon this layer between this pink color and the lighter pink color that was there already until I get the background I like. And there's our glazed pink donut. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this cozy sketch, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below letting me know what your favorite type of donut is. I have a link to my brushes, my Patreon, everything that you need to follow along listed down below, and I'll see you in the next video.